Sandro Guerra. I'm a painter and art instructor, and today we're going to be drawing a box. A box is a very simple exercise that I like doing in all my introductory classes because it teaches us concepts like light, shadow, middle tone, volume, perspective, all in a very simple way. And simplicity is a key because, like in painting, in drawing, and even in life, things go from simple to complex, from general to detail, not from detail to detail. And it's important to have general ideas, general concepts very well understood first before we want to do more complex things. Like in math, we need to know how to add and subtract before we do differential equations. If you want to draw, if you want to paint, I highly recommend you to do this kind of exercise before you try copying a Rembrandt painting. So for this exercise, we're going to be using soft charcoal, towel paper, preferably Viva paper towel. Viva paper towel is not the one we have today, but I highly recommend it. And chamois, chamois, depends of how you like to call it. It's a towel that it's an eraser. We also going to need a board to support the paper, and I like using for this kind of exercises Canson paper moonstone color. Uh, this is a technique that I learned from Nelson Shanks, who was my professor at the Art Students League of New York and shortly at Studio Caminati. And it's a very interesting technique. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a middle tone. We're gonna use the charcoal. We're gonna rub the charcoal over all the paper, and we're going to create a middle tone. A middle tone is very important because creating a middle tone is like doing half of the work, because once we have a middle ground, then we can tweak the light and we can tweak the shadow, and it's a lot easier to do the drawing this way. So we just have to rub the charcoal. And we're going to be drawing a box for our imagination. We need to have some general concept in our minds. So a lot of painters give a lot of emphasis to drawing for observation. That's important indeed, but we need to also have like a general idea of how things work in our mind. So I'm going to smooth this out with the towel paper. You can also use a school board eraser, and voila, we have the middle tone. Now we're going to proceed to draw the box. I'm going to try to keep it more or less in the center. And a box is mostly, I'm going to put it in perspective a little bit. It's mostly like the top of the box looks more or less like a rhomboid. So voila, a rhomboid. And if you pay attention the way I draw, I don't draw with my fingernails. I don't draw with my nails. Lines are like relationships. If you try to control your relationship too much, your partner is not gonna work. It's going to feel stressful. It's going to feel constricted. It's going to be shaky. It's going to be ugly. So the secret for lines and relationship is less control is more control. If you control with your fingernails, if you control with your finger, you control a lot, but you do a little. But if on the other hand you control with your arm or with your body, you control a little and you do a lot. So I'm going to do 3 lines here. I'm going 3 lines here. I'm going to project these 3 lines down here. And as you can see, I do it with my arm and sometimes even with my body. And voila, we have the box, the general idea of the box. Something I like saying in class is a ask everybody to say that if it's perfect, it's wrong. There's not such thing as perfect. If you make a mistake, you can always correct it. So it's very important that you do your lines in a free way, in a way that is not constricted. So I'm going to also project a shadow. I'm going to draw the projection of a shadow here. Let's imagine we have a light bulb here, and there is a light here. Voila. And there's a shadow cast this way, more or less. So the light is coming from here. This will be the darkest side, so I'm going to shade it. Shading is important to notice that in shading, it's important to keep an organized and constant hand stroke. Because if we do it in all directions, it's going to look messy, and the eye doesn't like messy things. Usually I'm going to reinforce at around here. The frontier between the light part and the dark part is usually even darker. I'm going to reinforce that, and I'm going to shade the shadow cast by the box. Shadow, 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 shadow. I'm going to reinforce this, blah, blah, and here we have it. This is a general idea of how things are. Okay? So, now we're going to find the light. As you can see, the light is coming from above, so I'm going to use the chamois or chamois to make this top part lighter. I'm just going to get rid of all the charcoal here to erase. Remember, if it's perfect, it's wrong. It's important you keep it simple. Simple and then complex, because in painting things go, and in drawing things go from general to detail, not from detail to detail. And here we have a general idea of how a three-dimensional box will look like, and it gives us a sense of something in real life, something that you can see, in three-dimensional space, and it creates an illusion of space. This is like a very elemental thing. Maybe we can make this a little bit lighter, but this time I'm going to do I use toilet paper, towel paper. I'm going to take off some of the charcoal here. Maybe I take off more from this side. But again, it's important to keep it simple. And now we have the middle tone from the background. We have the light. We have the shadow. We have the cast shadow. And we have the impression of a real object in three-dimensional space. So maybe I took too much charcoal from the side, so I'm going to shade it again. You see, in painting, anything is right or wrong. You use, and like, maybe I took too much from it, and so I'm going to put some charcoal back. And as I said, the frontier between the light and the shadow is always darker, and usually the shadow that gets cast by the box is even darker, and this light is slightly lighter at the bottom. This way you can see the shadow being cast. There you go. I'm making the bottom of the box lighter, the bottom of this side of the shadow side lighter, so it can so the shadow, the cast shadow, is be able to differentiate from the box. So here you have it, three-dimensional box. I hope you like this video. If you can, please share and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you soon in another video.